Good morning, you're listening to Nothing Personal on ROFM 92.7 and I'm Nikki King, I'm the host, and we are part of the Women in Business Facebook group network, and we interview interesting people every week. This show is sponsored by Hot Yoga for You, lovely Sherry Joy Smith, and Fuzzbox Designs. And we've got all sorts of news going on in our network. So if you want to join, if you're a woman and you've got a business and you want to join the network, then you can hop over to the Facebook page. If you just search for Wairarapa Women in Business, you'll find it. And you can take part in all the discussions that go on there. And, find out all about what goes on in our lovely network of Wairarapa women. This morning, I've got Marie Claire. I've forgotten your name.
I need one.
Marie Claire Edwards, isn't it? Andrews. God damn it. Do you know what I mean? I'd been saying that.
Because that first name is all you need.
And it is Marie Claire, not Marie Claire.
That's right.
Marie Claire. Yeah, like the magazine. Yeah. And Marie Claire's a very, very interesting person. If you live in Carterton, you probably know heaps about her. She's got opened the 3 Mile. So, good morning, Marie Claire. Would you like to introduce a bit more about yourself? Sorry about that.
That's all right. Marie Claire Andrews. Yeah. Moved over to Carterton in November last year. So this is my first year of everything, which is awesome, seeing all the things that are happening in the region. So opened the 3 Mile co-working community actually in March. So we decided to do it in January, opened it in March. So we're 4 months in, so lots of things to share about that. Before that, I was living in Wellington, running a software company over there, a couple of software companies. Moved over here for a bit of change of scenery and so that my husband can run his business from home too. So
cool. So what about Carterton was it that drew you to that particular place?
Like, honestly, because it was the best bang for our buck for the property. Like, we found a really beautiful spot, and so we had a lovely space to be in, which you could actually afford.
Yep.
It was close enough to things. So when I was looking, we definitely wanted like space around us, but I was like, no gravel roads. I have a little silly car, and I was like, I can't do gravel roads. So that's important, and I need the internet or I die. So
exactly.
So we had this sort of like periphery that we had to look for. So Carterton kind of smashed all of that, really.
It's a nice little community. I lived there for about 9 years.
Yeah.
And I just moved up to Masterton. There's no problem with Carterton. Loved it.
Yep.
Just because it was nearer for the children to schooling.
Yeah.
So, and we were paying a lot of money out in bus fares and stuff, and it makes more sense to just invest in a bigger house.
Yeah, totally.
So that's what we did.
Yep.
But Carterton's fantastic. So 3 Mile, do you want to tell me a little bit about that?
Yes, so it's a co-working space. So lots of definitions of co-working space. Actually, the Stuff ran an article on the weekend, which is kind of interesting. So it's top of mind for people at the moment. Basically, it means sharing an office with people, and you would do that because you're rubbish at working from home, you don't get things done, you can't afford an office of your own, maybe you're starting out in business and you want to find a team to work alongside. So the fundamental business model is people rent a desk.
Right.
And they get Wi-Fi and they get coffee and they get all of the infrastructure without having to get their own office. So that's the basic. When the magic happens, when it moves from being like a shared office into actually co-working, is when people are actually collaborating with each other on their businesses and on their projects.
Yeah.
So I sit next to a graphic designer, I sit next to a marketing specialist, I sit next to an accountant, I sit next to a lawyer. And when my next business idea bubbles up, instead of having to think, who's my co-founder's going to be, how am I going to make this happen, they're already around me and we already know how to work together. So it's that kind of symbiosis that happens.
I suppose you can also evaluate whether they've got some negative things that you don't want to work with.
Yep, can't work with them.
Exactly.
They play 80s music all day. It's just not
What's wrong with 80s music?
Well, not all day.
So do you have music going on? Is it a cool space?
Yeah. So we have, that's the sort of really interesting bit. So we got some speakers in there that people just Bluetooth their Spotify lists to. And actually it's a kind of awkward moment for new members the first time they actually broadcast their own Spotify, and we're like, who's that? Who's that rap? Who's that? Who likes the Bee Gees? Interesting. And everyone looks around, and then someone will be like, yep, that's me.
That's me. Questionable taste.
So to actually alleviate the stress of that, because that's bizarrely quite stressful for people, we've created a playlist, a 3 Mile Beats.
Yeah.
So people just push up their tunes to that one, and it randomly gets mixed in.
That's really cool.
But you need it for ambience and background. Like, you need, something has got to take away the sort of, you can't have like that painful no noise going on.
No.
It's got to it's got to fill the gaps. So yeah, it's quite an important piece of it.
I appreciate that because I should come down to 3 Mile, but I actually work at home, and sometimes when clients will turn up and I'll have the TV on in the other room and some other music going on somewhere way away, but it's not where I am, and it's just the feeling of people being around me.
Totally.
Especially when the TV's talking and Ellen's on yakking and da 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 da. It sounds like there's somebody else around.
You could have real people around.
I could. I could. I have to put that in my budget for next year. Co-working space.
So it is important. But plus as well, people are having Skype calls with their teams wherever they are remotely. So you don't want to, no one wants to listen into that or feel like they're going to be listened into. So that just kind of sets the scene. Yeah,
that's right.
And it makes it a nice mix between your own front room and an office. Just kind of casual feel. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, because you've got the best of sort of working at home and working away as well.
But we also do have a desperately amazing coffee machine in there, which I bet you don't.
That's important.
Yeah, it's really good.
I had a coffee guy on about 2 weeks ago, and we actually brewed up in the studio.
What?
Yeah, and he's a local guy, macchiato coffee roasters, so he roasts locally.
Yeah.
So I think it was amazing. He does this beautiful Cuban coffee. So perhaps you'll have to have a guest coffee sometime.
Yeah. Well, we buy our coffee in from Able Coffee over the hill because it supports the charity that we support. Yeah, which is lovely coffee. It's really good.
So not only can you have a beautiful coffee, but you're supporting something worthwhile.
Right. It's the co-working vibe. It's, one of the things that's different about what we do at 3 Mile to some of the bigger ones in the city is, I think anyway, co-working spaces out in the regions have got an important part in terms of community development.
Yes.
We've got a role to play in bringing people together and creating community, whereas when you get into the cities, it's much more about jobs and work and office space.
I agree. I think that's the big thing with the little communities is that they do have to find their own unique identity these days.
Yep.
And sort of Greytown had it ages ago, and now the other towns are trying to catch up with a unique identity.
Yeah. Totally.
And there's plenty of very ingenious people in Carterton.
I know. I think that's the thing that's blown me away, because again, honestly, it was a random pick for a place to live. It was just, we found the perfect home. And it happened to be in Carterton, I guess, right?
We were the same.
There we are. And I was still a bit snobby about whether or not, because I was a Wellington snob, whether or not Masterton was going to be, it's stupid, but there we are. But then, and also, when you drive down the high street, sometimes you just think Carterton's just sort of op shops and a couple of takeaways and a cafe, and you don't get the feel of the people behind it.
No, you don't.
Far out. It's unbelievable what's going on there. And for years and years, people just digging in, doing awesome things, changing the shape of the community, doing great projects.
Well, I got
so cool.
I got more involved in the community, I think, and feeling who people were when I got involved with Toi Wairarapa. Mm-hmm. And there's some amazing people behind the scenes there at Toi Wairarapa at the time. The art gallery, it was just great to see all the art coming through, and we put some gigs on there. So we did put music in the art gallery, which was pretty cool. There's some really, and talking about the identity then, saying focusing on the artisans would be a really good...
Yeah, and I think there's something about Carterton's creativity that's not just around artistic creativity.
No.
That's, creativity from what we're doing, in terms of creating businesses and creating projects, and then what Helen Ju does with, thinking about
she's amazing.
Oh my gosh, all of that sort of the combined currency and, all of the things that she's trying to scheme for resilience and all of that. There's a lot of creativity in that, and people really get drawn to it. Yeah.
It was quite an interesting fact that when I was first thinking of starting out my business, I had a meeting up with Helen Ju, and we were chatting about the green dollar.
Yep.
And there was another thing, the time bank.
Yes. Yep.
And I was sort of at the stage, sort of not ready to go for big clients. And she said, I've got a person in Golden Bay who needs some work doing on the time bank. Should I introduce you to? And that's how I started.
Hurrah! See?
I know. So the time bank, it was worthwhile joining the time bank. It is a good way to pay in time, if you want to. And it's a good way of measuring that, because you get back as much as you put in. Sometimes if you do a contra deal, you feel like you've been a bit on the arse end of it, the bum end of it. It measures that you can put your hours in, and then you can cash those hours in somewhere else. So she's a really good lady, eh?
I know. It was awesome that she won the overall award at the Charles Ricking Carter Awards. That was great. I know. She was like, you ain't seen nothing yet. I was like, really? Could you just relax?
Oh, she's got all sorts of things going. There was a finance thing she was trying to get up about community loans and things like that.
Yeah, that's happening.
That was really innovative.
Yeah, little groups of people who will review other people's requests for a loan, and they pay it out, and then that person pays it back on a monthly basis and then carries on paying the same amount back into the fund. So you borrow $2,000 for your emergency and put up some collateral so everyone knows that they're going to be fine, and they pay it back in, and then another $2,000 into the pot, and so it just keeps going and keeps going.
It's really amazing. And then there was this community housing thing she was looking at as well at some stage. What looked like we're co-owning or something.
I think so. I think that's on the back burner. But one of our members at the co-working space, Wairarapa Construction, so Corinna's got a scheme thinking about something similar, and fingers crossed they're working with council at the moment to try and find a space where they can actually put some really affordable houses on. So smaller sections, smaller buildings, because often when the commuters are coming over the hill looking for places to buy, and you've got like 10 acres or 6 acres, and like we townies don't know what to do with that.
No.
And nor do we want a beautiful section with a massive monster house on, because, like me, we're like 2 incomes, no kids. We don't need heaps of space. So she's like, what about some really beautifully designed 2 bedrooms on a decent section close to the town?
That's right.
Because it's just that there isn't that.
I think it was a bit like that when we came. It was either a little house in town or a
massive monster palace thing. And I'm like,
my husband Pete's like, oh, we want land. I was like, no, we don't want land. I mean, we got a 1/4 acre section, and that was too much for us, because we're busy people. Yeah. And he thought he liked mowing. Yeah, but he soon learned that he didn't like mowing at all.
See, I'm the other way around. Like, I love this land for the space it gives me.
Yeah.
But we looked around these houses like, what's 4 bedrooms for? I'm just going to buy furniture that,
put it in.
My family visits me once every 2 years. My mates come over. They would happily sleep on a couch. So it really, it doesn't matter. We've only got 2 bedrooms now. Even our second bedroom is basically the laundry room. I just lay the laundry.
I just put that in my bedroom because we haven't got a spare one. So we filled it with kids, Stupid, really. So, tell me a little bit more about the events that you put on like 3 Mile, because that's pretty cool as well.
So that is part of that community development, and also part of what we're trying to do from a business development point of view, because it is new, the concept over here. So we're trying to show people what the space looks like, get them in, demystify it a bit, that we're not these crazy out-of-town weirdos doing something bizarre, or that it's not a furniture shop, because we've had quite a few people going,
can I buy that?
Yeah, can I buy the sofa? Like, actually, if you could call Nude and tell them, that would be great, because they did sponsor it. So yes, please do. But so we run workshops every week, as far as we possibly can. And those are on just interesting elements of business that people want to dig into in more detail. So we've done things like Instagram, how to, when to, whether to bother. We've done some around raising sponsorship. We've done event management. We've done some on technology security. We've talked about governance. We've talked about hacks for making the most of your time, like all sorts of different things.
Yeah.
And the idea is that we get an expert in their field, or someone who's passionate about what it is that they're talking about. They come in, they explain some of the fundamentals, and then they just work with that group, which is normally, 10 to 15 people, just to find out what matters to them and do a really deep dive Q&A into that topic. So it's sort of a workshop come seminar come networking session. At the beginning of them, we always make people introduce each other, and at the end they'll do an ask and answer. So I really need to find someone who can help me with this, or I've had a problem with X, can anyone help? So we get that kind of community conversation happening. And then 1 or 2 people every week will say, oh, great, I should come and use the space. So it's really good for us to get people in. We did a nice one on retail the other day. So trying to make sure people don't think we're just all about the digital.
No, that's right.
It's kind of my passion, but, there's so much more. So I forgot that my sister, who to me will always be a 15-year-old, is actually a 40-year-old expert in retail psychology and interior fit-outs. I was like, Kate, do a workshop. And so we got all of the local retailers to come in, and even the fabulous woman from Ekadahuna, who has that beautiful gift shop out there.
Maison.
Yes. Drove all the way in to hang out and do this. And Kate stepped through just, how the retail landscape is changing and how you can design your shop interface so that people come in, and all of the different sort of stuff. It was great.
Because we've all felt that, haven't we? Where you go past a shop and you don't feel you quite can go in it, the barrier,
Yeah, absolutely. So she talked about the landing strip.
Oh, nice.
It's actually got a technical term, yeah. So that bit where people come in and they land in your shop. And apparently in New Zealand, we all turn left straight away. So you should put your best quality stuff. In the US, they all go right.
That's very interesting.
Yeah. So you need to think about that. Yeah.
Do you reckon that's because we drive on different sides of the road? Yeah.
We're just used to that move. Yeah. And we pass that way. Yeah. Funny.
So if you're aiming for the US tourists,
yeah. Stick
all
on
your
the
gifts
right.
there on the right. It's on the right.
And the other cool thing I remember was she's like, for some shops, there's things that people are coming to buy from you, right? If you're a dairy, they want to come for the milk. Put it right at the back.
Yeah, so they have to pass everything. Yeah.
So that was really cool. So, yeah, well, I think we had about 20 or 25 people come along to that one.
That's really good, but so I suppose that's you're aiming at those niche things that don't generally get discussed at things like the Chamber or whatever. You know?
And we've chatted to Catherine at the Chamber of Commerce here. So they're carrying on with the policy level discussions and sort of strategic discussions, and we're digging in at that kind of capability level, like upskilling on a specific topic, which is a nice synergy.
I found that with the Women in Business group, it's not really the high-level things that people struggle with. No. It's the day-to-day management of things that can cause issues.
Yep. Yeah.
You know, so it's they'll come and how can I fit this Facebook thing in, or how can I do that, or how can I do that. It's not generally the sort of
changes to the IRD, PAYE,
no.
blah, 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 blah. No.
So there's definitely a requirement for that. It's like all the courses that I've ever run. I occasionally run them when, you know, some days I think somebody's asked, a number of people have asked me for that, so I'll run something. Yep. It's like Facebook for beginners, because people don't really want to know the high-level strategy. They want to know how they can keep themselves safe.
Could you come and run a workshop on that? Oh, I don't know, maybe next
week? Oh, yeah.
That would be great.
I think I can manage that. Yeah, no, so it's pretty cool down there. I'm looking forward to I've not been there yet, so this is my first step in the door.
I know.
So you may tempt me.
Yeah, we've got 7 or 8 kind of regular members now who are on in most days. And actually the Chamber of Commerce hot desks from there.
That's quite cool.
Awesome. Every Tuesday. So they're just running their space from there, which is good. And about 40 members all up. So some of them are coming on their 10-trip tickets, so they just randomly pop in whenever the urge takes them. And then some like Chris, who needs to write his reports on a Monday and a Wednesday and a Friday, so that's when he comes into the space. So I
suppose you could do that. You could just like even budget for like, I've got to do this once a month and I need a very good head space for that.
Yeah, and Corinne does that. So she's got her own office where they run their business from, but she can't get the admin done or the strategic thinking or the marketing. She just can't do it there.
You get interrupted.
So she comes at Fridays, her like, I'm going to smash it out day, and she comes in and smashes it out, has some good chats, drinks a coffee, gets it done. Because
I have clients who sometimes I go into their business to try and talk to them about stuff, but they get so interrupted by everything. So I actually get them to come to me now, because it's like your staff are just going to interrupt you there.
Yeah, exactly.
You come to me, we'll talk
and your
properly.
Brain's not in it. Be focused
and because it's not going to happen, and you're not going to you're going to look at it and say, why haven't you done it? And say, well, you haven't given me the instructions because you've been interrupted throughout the whole meeting.
So we've got little meeting spaces and sofa areas and like casually bits at the moment, but the next phase, which we're just starting now, is to put proper meeting rooms in and actual soundproof areas and workshop rooms.
That's
and
nice.
A kitchen finally.
Kitchen,
God, because filling up the coffee machine with bottles from the bathroom is a little bit painful. It's a little bit painful.
But, we all started somewhere.
Exactly.
And it's there. And it's I'm a big believer in the agile model.
Yeah, totally.
Throw it up, let's see what happens.
Totally. And we've been kind of umming and ahhing because, it's a big investment again. We're all of the 3 of us that own the place. We've got to put our cash in again to make it. And we're like, is this the right thing? We're like, of course it is.
Yeah.
Just got to do it. I think keep it moving.
With any business, it's got to grow. And even like I talk about my band quite a lot because I run that like a business. And the first time I had a band, I didn't. And it was quite interesting because they do take about 3 years to mature. And at the 3rd year, you're like, it's not hard anymore. Because the thing is starting to run and you're thinking of bigger things, and then that's when you look at your time and you're thinking, that's where I'm at the moment. So, but running a workshop about that might be a good thing. I'd be definitely up for that.
Yeah, we totally should do that.
Yeah.
We had a lucky break. So Lavish Hairdressers in Carterton are moving up from their premises to the old BNZ that's opposite, 3 Mile.
Yeah.
And they had the beautiful glass offices inside there, which are no good to a hairdresser. So they dismantled it, and we picked them up on the weekend.
Nice.
Yes. I know. Go community. So we ran them across the road, and they'll put them up in the back space.
Well, that's interesting.
cool.
We were talking off air just then, and I've just had an idea about that. You should I've got things that I could loan to you. You should have a bank of business machines.
Think about that. Yeah.
Because I've got things that you might want to borrow, and I'm sure there's lots of little businesses. We've all got these unique bits of kit that if we could get together and do projects.
Yep. Totally. Ooh, good idea. I should write that down.
I'm like that.
I know.
What was that, Nikki? What did you say to me earlier? I don't know. It was about an hour ago. I've forgotten now. I have so many things going through my head. It goes, I have to calm that.
The voices?
It is the voices. Yeah, it's the business voices. Yeah, they're there. So next week I'm up at 3 Mile. But have you got a program over the next month?
Yeah. Well, we've got that Tuesday next week. We're actually doing a 3-hour workshop with the Akina Foundation on how to start a social enterprise.
Yeah, I saw that.
Mm-hmm. So that's actually at the event centre because we can't fit everyone in, and 3 hours would interrupt all our co-workers. So doing that one. Then there's yourself. Then we've got one coming up on some financial bits and bobs, which I'm not so good at explaining, but we need to dig into like some of the how to read your spreadsheets and how to read your summaries and how to talk to your accountant, how to ask good questions, that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's important though.
Yeah. And then we'll do some more on brand development. So we started with just discussing the difference between brand and logos and communications and all those sort of words. Yeah. And so we'll dig into that a little bit more. Time to do another one on funding.
Yes.
So funding options.
Well, you came to talk to us at DSBM the other week, and the funding, that was a very, very interesting discussion.
There are so many sources out
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
It made me start thinking about things ideas that we'd had in the past that we could sort of look at. So just
if you knew that there was $250,000 that you could get, what would you do with it?
Exactly.
It's such a cool way to think about it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. That's how all those ideas that you think you've got no money for. Yeah. You could actually get funded if they're good enough.
Yeah. Exactly. And if they're positioned properly, and it's still a product you've got to sell, right? You know, if you're looking for money, that's still you're making a sale. So investors have got to want to buy it. But it's totally doable.
Yeah. So you've got this back room that you're going to do. What's that going to be?
Well, we'll actually start using the meeting rooms. So our members will be able to have meeting rooms as part of their packages. Yep. So instead of having to meet your clients at home, you've got a nice professional place to come in. We've got some nice AV coming in and, Skype setups, et cetera, et cetera. But then it'll all be about hackathons. So we want to run regular hackathons in the space over the weekends.
So are they those things where you brainstorm somebody's business?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
So you get a core community. So it could be a particular company that wants to, revisit some of the ways they've been doing things for 100 years, or it could be local government, could be the council, like we've got an issue with XYZ, what should we do about it? It could be a community group that wants to start a new project. Taratahi are interested, the training college, just to think about their students exploring agri-tech issues. Yeah. So you get together on a Friday night, there's that topic in that core community that sort of brainstorm what these products and issues or businesses could even be, form into teams. We bring in a whole lot of experts to kind of sit around those teams, so web designers, developers, app builders, marketers, social media, etc. And then over the weekend, they literally build the business. So they prototype, they do some market research, they set up their social feeds, they see if it could come to life. Yeah. And then on Sunday, we pitch it to investors and see if anyone wants to make it fly.
Ooh,
it's
that
cool.
Sounds exciting. It sounds like the kind of thing I'd love. Right. It's like just, let's just throw it up there.
The ones I've been in before, they succeed on so many levels. Like, sure, some of those projects could pop out as businesses or projects like that, and that's good. But you've also brought together a whole group of people that might not normally talk. So if we do the agri-tech one, we'll get some of the farmers in, we'll get the council in, we'll get kids involved. There's a whole teaming thing that happens.
Yeah, that's right.
And then even for the people who are running it, you work all day and all night, and you really feel what it feels like to drive a business like that, what it feels like to be an entrepreneur, which is good training for some people because they're like, nope, this is not me, I should get a job. But
no, that's right. Well, it's not for everybody, is it?
Exactly.
It's not. I know people who have come out of being an entrepreneur and gone back into a job because they didn't like thinking about it all the time. Yeah. Because you don't realise that you don't switch off from your business ever. Not even when you go on holiday. ever hits and somebody's always ringing you at an inappropriate time, or
I know. But you let them because you kind of want to take the call anyway.
Yeah, just in case it's something that you want to go, I'll give it a go. It's like, because it might be that opportunity. Right. But I don't know whether it was Steve Jobs or Bill Gates. Oh, I think it was Steve Jobs that always said he gave everything a go.
Yes. Right. Why not?
Why not? And that's, actually, it was Richard Branson. I remember who it was. It was one of them, those inspirational guru type things. And he was like, that's how you learn. If you don't give it a go, you'll never know.
Yep, exactly.
And I love the fact that you're involving kids, because I actually think that that's a really big gap in education, that they don't teach kids how to be entrepreneurial.
Yeah, and it's tough because, teachers... That's not their natural space. No. Like, that's the ultimate, it's a very hard job, but it's a very structured role. It's almost the antithesis of entrepreneurialism, right?
Yeah, it is. It's like, let's pipe them all through.
Yeah, and here's the structures that the government give us, and these are the boxes we need to tick, and these are my stakeholders, and it's, it's not the right environment.
No.
And it's worried me a little bit as I've watched conversations over here, thinking about, we're still training our kids into hospitality, and we're still training them into agriculture, and it's like... that's now, but it's not for much longer. By the time they pop out of the system, we just can't suggest that that's going to be their jobs. And it's
one thing I actually did learn when I did teacher training, because I was with Canterbury the year that they had the earthquake.
How many jobs have you had?
Heaps. Right. Heaps. That's why I know about lots of businesses, though. But I did teacher training through Canterbury on a distance thing, and they were very big. That particular teacher training course was very big in creative thinking.
Cool.
And they were saying that the kids that come out of the jobs are not even invented yet.
Totally.
So you've got to. The kids have got to think differently. It's not like when I went to school.
We've got to future-proof them.
Exactly.
It's the World Economic Forum. 30% of children who are in school right now will be doing roles we don't even have names for.
I know.
So why
what was it? Critical thinking, was it, or something? There was the thinking that the processes that we're trying to teach children.
Yeah. And you're right, creativity, because we will automate so many of the things that don't require creativity. So, that's where we need to move into, is to how to design those things and create those things and amalgamate those things to create something new. That's what matters.
I think there'll be also, from my point of view, this is how I think anyway, there will still be global, but I think things will come back to community.
Absolutely.
I think things like Helen Dew's thing.
Yep. Yeah.
I think Casting could be a good model for all of this stuff, coming back to your roots and using as much local stuff as possible.
Absolutely. Well, it makes sure we're resilient for the day when finally it all kind of goes.
Exactly.
Because that could be at any point.
Yeah, who knows? Mm-hmm. With all what goes on in the world.
Yeah.
But I really think that if I'd have been taught entrepreneurial skills or the confidence to be entrepreneurial at school, I would have done that straight away.
Yeah.
Because that's why I've had 100 of jobs.
Right, exploring and finally getting there. I know. Same with me.
I can't work for anyone else.
No, I think we're unemployable is actually the term.
But look at how many people I've had on this show who have said the same thing. Yep. They've gone through a number of things. Yep. And then when they finally worked for themselves, it was brilliant.
Yep. And it is about that confidence. And it's funny because I don't have kids, but I'm really passionate about them being told and encouraged to reach for the stars and that they can.
Like, well, you were a kid once, eh?
Right. And
you know what it's like.
I just don't, the whole sort of, just because you live in a region and the internet's slow and this, like, it doesn't mean you can't want to be Elon Musk, and it's totally achievable thing. And
that's right.
And you're not setting them up to fail. You're setting them up to be brave and to be decisive and to be determined. And how is that not a good thing?
Exactly. I've had that with my middle boy. He thinks a bit outside of the box. He's not your traditional child, so they see him as being difficult.
Yeah.
So it's like, but
that's a win.
But the thing is, he knows everything about Minecraft, World War II planes. He's just completely fact driven. He's completely just. Not lots of knowledge, but not, for school.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
And it's like, but they should be looking at those kids and thinking, how can we empower them to...
Yeah.
Because I think he's probably quite entrepreneurial. I think he doesn't think that. I've never thought linear, like in a linear pattern.
No.
It's always been boom, 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 boom. It's all over there. It's...
Yeah. So that's what I'm hoping. If we can get a program of these hackathons up and running, I can see lots of nice spin-offs and benefits and that to me will be success for 3 Mile. If that's what we deliver repeatedly for different pieces of the community, then we'll have smashed it.
Yeah, that's cool. I'm really excited about that. That sounds brilliant. So what I'm going to do now is we're nearly halfway through the show. It goes so quickly. I'm going to put on some music when my iPad unlocks. Okay, they're so great, aren't they? Technology, it's brilliant, isn't it? I love it. I do. I've just invested in some more tech, but sometimes it just doesn't unlock with your thumb. I need the face one. Even then, it probably wouldn't recognise me if I changed my hair colour. Right, so here I'm going to play some. What am I going to play? I'm going to play some. I'm just definitely going to play some Groove Lagoon today. Awesome. I loved them. They were so good at Glastonbury. Let's have a bit of this.
It's all you know from the goon you're sinking. Set in the tone for a minute. Or a masterpiece to the blurry out around it without a care. Say I've been waiting here for far too long. Take me to a place where we can grow. I can't feel it. Don't you wanna know? What's that song? Chasing another, losing attention for finding a lover. It's all for show, I'm a dime a dozen. Standing alone, I can taste the moment starting to glow. Gee, keep you guessing right at home. No confession, it's a storm, a blessing or a sin. Some kind of fear. I can feel the heat from the blurry eye around here without a care. Say I've been waiting here for far too long. Take me to a place where we can grow. I can't feel it. Don't you wanna know what's the tone? 'Cause I need to know what's the tone. I feel it coming, darling. Take me from my throne. I'm playing up now, darling. Tell me where to go. I feel it coming, darling. Tell me where to go. Say I've been waiting here for far too long. Take me to a place where we can grow. I can't feel it. Don't you wanna know what's the tone? 'Cause I need to know what's the tone.
You're listening to 92.7 Arrow FM, and this is a Nothing Personal show with Nikki King. In the studio this morning is Mary Claire Andrews. I don't know what's wrong with my brain today. And she's from 3 Mile, and she's got heaps of other businesses. She's always jetting off. I'm friends with her on Facebook, and I say, I'm off to Las Vegas and blah,
Vegas next
blah.
week, yeah.
God, such a jet setter. And thanks to Hot Yoga for You and Fuzzbox Designs for the sponsorship of this show, believing in us. It's really good for women to get out there. Well, we've had some men on as well to tell their stories about business, because why should we just keep it to women? Because men provide services that women want too, so that's what we do. We sort of throw that out there. And if you're listening on the podcast, you can actually go to YouTube, to Wairarapa TV's channel, and we've got a playlist, so you can actually see what we look like, which is really cool because we've got cameras in here now. And there's going to be an official launch of the camera service on Arrow FM on the 9th of August. So we're having a party here. So keep your eyes tuned, eyes peeled, and you'll be able to watch on Freeview on channel 41, and that's going to be an amazing day because we've got musicians and everything, and we're going to go all day, so it's going to be really good. So Spank are going to be revealing their new guitarist on that day, so that's really cool. So we're like, yes, we're back in business. So yeah, that's going to be a really cool day, so make sure you tune in for that. We're here with Mary Claire Andrews. Oh sorry, why have I done that?
Edwards would work, but no.
Andrews. So sorry about that. I know your name. It's just I've got this crazy thing going on. Yeah. So tell me a little bit about your other businesses. Let's dig into that.
Cool. So I work with my husband on the Makerspace.
Yep.
So Makerspace New Zealand.
Oh, I saw something about that. You were on about lasers yesterday.
Exactly. So we have a factory over in China where we make lasers and CNCs and bring them in and then put them into schools to train the kids on these future technologies. Well, to train the teachers, actually, to be excited about it, and then get the kids involved in all of that. So Lee, my husband, was a teacher way back in the day, and then spent some time at Weta doing creative, beautiful, awesome things, and then spent some time actually over here building the World War I plane. So he's a maker through and through.
Nice.
Through and through, which is awesome for me because every house I live in, he makes it more beautiful, which is brilliant.
Oh, see, we're not like that at all.
So
we're both
happy.
techies.
I'm so grateful. It's really
I'd love a
good.
maker. I have a computer fixer.
One of our biggest making projects was when we sold the house to start some of our companies and lived on a boat, and he made that boat into a home for us. Was pretty great.
So you could have been on those amazing spaces, George's amazing spaces.
Yeah, it was amazing towards the end. The beginning was not so amazing. It was basically a 60-foot fishing trawler we got from Aussie.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and he brought it back across the sea and turned it into a home. Yeah, so for the first 6 months we lived in a little square box.
Oh, nice.
And you flopped the sofa bed out and that was the whole room. Yeah.
I think we've all camped somewhere, though, at some stage, you know.
It was fun. Taught us what mattered, hot running water.
Exactly.
You know.
So how did you feel when you first got your first bath? Then
So good. We can't have a bath on a boat, Nikki, because the water slops out.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, but the shower was great.
Yeah.
The shower was great.
You see, I lived in a house without a bath, whatever. I'm north, you're southerner.
Yeah.
For a long time. Last house didn't have a bath at all. So it's like, nice to be in a house.
So good.
When you've got exercise-induced problems.
Yes, exactly. That no
Thank
bananas.
you, CrossFit Manaya.
Beauty is pain, beauty is pain.
I know. So making.
So the Makerspace we had in the city. So we ran a sort of membership organisation where people would come and make their projects and use our tools and all those things. Now we've moved over to Carterton. We're mostly just working with the schools, but would really like to get a Makerspace open in the village as well too. So that would be awesome. Just to get again people inspired with these new digital technologies, get them not feeling scared about the software and just the things that they can make, and then. What we're both really passionate about is actually making things for a purpose. So creating businesses out of it, not just 3D printing a plastic rabbit. And that's interesting, but it's not. There's no point.
Not really, no.
And he's learned a lot about working with China and the logistics and shipping and freighting and all of those things. So hopefully we can build that up. So there's that. Mm-hmm. Then my actual paid job is for a group of companies called the Event Tech Tribe. So I run their operations, and they are 7 different software companies that help events with the different pieces of software that they need, like ticketing and registration and badges and all of those things. They're based in the US and in Europe, hence the travel.
Yeah.
And it's my job to create a super channel for them and market them as a collective and help people buy their products, help them play together nicely. Yeah, which is awesome fun. And that's kind of an offshoot of my old business. That was the space I've been in event tech. Yeah, it's good.
So how did you get into events?
Well, my actual first job when we moved to New Zealand was running the graduation ceremonies for Big
nice.
Uni. It was great. It was a huge job, but it was so well managed. I walked into a brilliant sort of process that after 6 months I was like, I can't make this any better, so what's the point? So I kind of knew about events, but it was more the tech that kind of brought me into the event space. I just could see so many ways to make events more efficient and more interesting, and it was kind of 10 years ago I started the first event tech company, and that was when mobile phones were just coming out and apps were starting to be developed, so that's kind of where I fell into it. And then I love the industry. I love that we're still passionate about getting in a room and talking like we're doing, right? And
it's an exciting technology. I remember back in 2000, we were talking about this offline when I worked for Reed, and Reed were just stepping into the online recruitment forum, and that's how I got involved in what I was involved in, because I was really sort of passionate, because I'd worked in software companies about anything that made the recruitment process better. And we had this project, I can't remember what it was called. Everybody could submit what idea they thought would be big. And I had one of those. Do you remember those handspring PDA things before phones?
Did it have a little pen and
and I said, this is the future. People will carry... Everything will go on around this, and they said no, people will still have computers. I bet they're kicking themselves now. Yeah, no, because I said this will be a phone, this will be everything, this will be your computer, because that's what I could see. Because I used to exploit this quite a lot. I used to have everything on it, and it was like a little LCD grey and black screen thing. Before colour screens, my kids are like. I know, gosh. And, it's just, tech's come on so much in the last, that must be 18 years.
Yeah, I know. I love it. And I think I love it because it does change all the time. So it suits my kind of can't sit still, need things to be different personality.
Same.
Which is good. But I think the reason I love it in the event space is it's that lovely juxtaposition of tech helping but not getting in the way of actually physical connections.
Exactly.
Because even with all this tech happening and everything, we're all on social, we still crave being in a room with people, and I think even more than we ever did, because it's lonely in cyberspace. The relationships aren't quite the same.
No,
and it is,
that's right.
So that whole event space just kind of ticks all those boxes.
And I think that's where women in business came from back in three years ago. Lots of individual, isolated women doing their businesses on their own. And there was no networking group low cost. There was networking groups, but they were cost. And people don't have that money when they're starting out.
Totally.
So it's like, we just pop one up. And now it's got 500 odd women in it.
It's massive.
I know. So... but they still love coming to the meetups.
I know. Look at how popular that last breakfast was. Everyone's like, oh, it's great. And I missed it.
I know. We should come along, because I think you...
I know. The timing never seems to work. It's painful.
No, well, I was thinking of somebody... I saw somebody in Countdown at the weekend, and she was like, I'd definitely be interested in an evening one. So, I mean, we could even sort of perhaps do it at 3 Mile.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
It might be something we could do there. But
with wine instead of coffee.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. We can do that.
We'll have to do it in Masterton, then I don't have to drive.
Okay.
No, only joking.
Or we could carpool.
We could carpool, yes. There's lots of people. And that you'll find that with Wairarapa, you get people coming from all over, because you said you had somebody from Ekatahuna.
Yeah. And we're just hooking now into the Fab Feathy group.
Yeah,
out
they're
of
quite cool.
So cool, and so many good initiatives. So trying to scheme up how we could partner with them. Maybe we might run some of our workshops in space down there and get people thinking about entrepreneurship that way, and maybe do some kind of deal for their crews to come up and use the space. I don't know, but because they said, like a lot of the towns have said, can you open one in Featherston? Can you open one in Martin? I'm like, can we make this one viable first, please? Like,
I know.
It's not just the physical space, it's the community, and there's no point there only being 5 people in 3 Mile and 1 person in Featherston and 6 people in Masterton. Like, it's just not.
No.
There's no point.
No, and you might not even get enough people in those towns to fill it.
Exactly.
Because you find that with the provinces, there's not quite enough of you need a critical mass of people. And what's good about 3 Mile is it's not too far from And Carterton is pretty much the centre of Wairarapa.
Yeah, yeah.
So people do come down and
I know it's a really terribly rude thing to say, but when, entrepreneurs have said to me, it's just like it's a 10-minute drive. I'm like, well, seriously, if that's actually the biggest barrier for you, like this journey that you're on, I think you should get a job because
well, the thing is,
10-minute drive is the least of your worries. Like,
I travel to anywhere. If there's a client that wants my services, I will drive up to Martin Butter.
Well,
I've gone over to Wellington.
Yeah, Lee will go and see a customer in Auckland and drive up and, stay overnight and drive back the next, you do what you do for the business that you're in. I'm on a plane next week for 4 days to the States just to go over and do the event we need to do and come back.
Yeah, and you do what you do, don't you? If you're getting the kickback from that,
right.
then you actually do that.
And so maybe we haven't sold them the value, and they're like, "Why would I drive 10 minutes just to sit there and drink coffee?" Okay, fair enough. Yeah.
And people can be resistant at the beginning of things as well.
Yeah.
I've been in Wairarapa now 10 years, and people are resistant to change. I've been in some organisations where, because I'm a big change bunny, I like going in and going, "You're doing probably similar to you. This is not working." I can see something from the outside, and they get very resistant, and they put the thing up because we've always done it this way. And it's like, well, but world has moved on.
Yes, exactly.
And you're not going to get people into your organisation looking like this or acting like this. You've got to make it accessible. There's got to be access points like businesses. And I think people do get resistant. It's a new thing for Wairarapa. And I think 3 years down the line,
I know.
You'll be like, how do I get more desks in my space?
Yeah. And then I would love to have them open in different spaces because you do get slightly different vibe. You get different communities, and maybe Three Mile becomes sort of, I don't know, so far we've got lots of designers in there. Maybe that's the kind of space. And then maybe the Masterton one is more around services, and maybe the Featherston one's more creative. Who knows?
I think it'd
be cool.
I think it'd be nice to have different ones with different identities. Because that sort of clean. It'd be cool to go into a funky space. A bit like, have you been up to the coffee roasters at the top of Cuba Street?
Yeah.
I'd love something like that.
Yeah. And that's what we're thinking about doing the makerspace, because then you're getting a making community. That's people coming in, and you're really good at the software design, but I'm really good at the, productivity around using the materials. And I understand fabric and you understand timber and all of that cool stuff.
Because a couple of years ago I read an article about cooperative working as well, where you get three people who are very in similar things, and it's not a limited company, it's not a partnership, it's you guys working together.
Honestly, I think it's the best way forward. That's what we do with the Event Tech Tribe. So there's 7 independent companies. There is literally no entity that joins them together. They pay a membership fee, which pays my salary and all of the things that we do. And together they're marketed as one channel, which means they're getting 7 times the exposure plus whatever we create for the brand. They can say yes to work they couldn't have normally said yes to because they've got someone in their family that can deliver on that. So it's genius. I know. Do it for designers, do it for web design. It would be brilliant.
I think that's the way. If there's no creative, and I'm coming up against this more and more because we offer a one-stop shop. Because I'm that kind of person who just gives it a go. I do video, I do all sorts of things. Then people are loving the one-stop shop.
Totally.
But I can't do it all. I'm getting to the stage where
you can't be expert in it either. That's the thing. You want to be good at the thing you're good at, and that's a really awesome value proposition to say to a customer, I'm awesome at these things, but therefore by definition you can't be awesome at everything.
No, that's right. And you start losing your edge on some of the things. So there's a value to having that entity that is
the front door,
the access point for the customer, because they don't want to deal with 700 different people. Especially if they're a small business with hardly any time to do things. So perhaps that's something in my mind.
I think it's a genius idea.
I think that's probably just getting it out to everybody out there. But hey, cool. So Event Tech Tribe. So somebody come to you, and
mostly they're event planners or event marketers. So they're trying to increase the number of people coming to their events, or want to make more money from it, or they need to, I don't know, maybe they're changing locations, or some of the huge corporates that we work with, like Atlassian, they know they need to have the latest and greatest. That's what their value proposition is. So they're out shopping for new stuff. So they come to us and say, what can you do? How can you solve these problems? And then my fun job is kind of pulling the smorgasbord together, all the bits, and creating that strategy and saying, this is what you need and this is how we'll deploy it. So, yeah. So the event we're doing in Las Vegas next week is our big user conference. So all our customers coming in, showcasing all the new features, and then lots of prospective customers basically shopping.
Right, so this is a massive event by the sounds of it.
Well, actually, it's only 150 people.
Oh, right, so it's not too big.
And we're going to do an unconference as part of it too, so actually get them to tell us what the future of event technology is and do a bit of brainstorming and use all of their wisdom, I guess, to help us shape a strategy. So that'd be fun.
Because that's the thing with these, like even 3 Mile and the Women in Business, you get together and there's a whole heap of brains in there that you can pick.
Yep. Like when we ran the event workshop at 3 Mile a couple of weeks back, and we had lots and lots of event managers from the various festivals and things happening. And we just said to each other, gosh, how do we collaborate better on timings so that I'm not running my Mount Bruce garden show the same day as you're doing that and the same day as you're doing, or we decide actually that it would be good to have lots of things on a certain weekend because then we're making it a focal point. Like we often don't know these things until the Facebook event goes up or the brochure's out.
No, that's right.
Oh my God, it's on the same day, or or we don't take the opportunity to say, oh wow, this is all happening on this weekend. Let's get some assistance to really promote the region on that day because
you could have complementary things happening, couldn't you?
Totally. It's a reason for the city guys to come over because, you can do this in Featherston and then you can do this in Greytown and this in Carterton and,
we could do this Friday, this Saturday, this Sunday, and they're all to do with gardening or whatever. Or aeroplanes or balloons.
Yeah. So that just bubbled up out of just being together in a room and going, we should communicate more and we should talk more. And so now we're trying to scheme what it is that we do to make that work.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, it's great. And I think that's anything that does that is really good because sometimes you could be sat there banging your head against the table, not knowing who to ask and how to take that first step because that first step is the most important one, isn't it?
Yep. And often doesn't really matter what it is as long as you take it. I used to say that with my team when we were trying to think about the future for Show Gizmo. I was like, there's no bad decisions. It's just the bad decision is not making one.
Exactly.
Just do it. We try, we fail, we'll do something else. But if we sit and wait, the world will just move past us and
we'll
someone else will do it.
We'll be kicking ourselves.
Exactly.
We missed that opportunity. Yeah. Because that's the thing. I always get frightened that, I'm going to miss that opportunity,
Yeah. And to be fair, like if you've got a good idea, there will be 17 other people who are having that good idea.
Exactly.
Like, we are not the special snowflakes that we might think we are.
No, it's just the person with the drive to get it out the door. Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah. And I'm really looking forward to coming down to 3 Mile.
I'm totally roping you into hackathons, you know that,
Oh,
right?
no. Do you know, hackathons are completely my kind of thing. I really love to do that.
Bit messy, bit creative, bit random.
And just sort of pushing yourself through things, Yeah. It's like I've just started this CrossFit and I'm pushing myself through it. It's like...
It's got to be done though. I'm the same with this boxing fight that I find myself doing.
Let's hear about that. We've got that as well, haven't we? Boxing.
I've decided. So I think when I ultimately write my book, I'm going to be doing this story about things that happen in 3-month cycles. So 3 Mile, we had the idea. 3 months later, we opened it.
Yes.
And I met a guy called Mike Dawes who runs the IT Heavy Hitters program in the city. And he's now one of our volunteers. And it's through him we sponsor the coffee that we have. Yeah. Anyway, and he told me about a similar corporate fight night that's happening in Masterton on the 1st of September. And he's like, why don't you do it? So I thought, okay, why don't I get in a ring and be punched in the face?
Have you done boxing before?
Never. So it was a 10 week, so not even the full 3-month cycle, right? 10 weeks from the first time you put your gloves on to getting in a ring. It's with the Fortitude Gym here in Marston. They're such a great crew, really nice people. I feel really safe. And they've been really clear, like, for those of us who are doing this first time fight, if they don't feel we're safe or they don't feel we're going to do it, they won't put us up. It's not just, for the sake of it. And it is part of a bigger night. So they're raising money for their gym and for the community, and a bit of the proceeds go to the Key to Life, which was kind of what motivated me. Yeah. So, September the 1st, I put gloves on, all things being equal, and get hit in the face by some random woman. Or not, actually, or don't get hit in the face.
You won't die, though. I didn't die at CrossFit.
I hope not.
No, that was my big fear. I was going to die. If I didn't die, it was all good.
I'm actually more. So, it's a lot of it's like we're raising money, so we're selling tickets and we're getting people to go. I'm like, actually, I don't know if I want anyone to be there. It's more, I don't mind doing it, but my mates watching me.
Yeah, it's quite scary, isn't it? I think sometimes when you go outside of your comfort zone, you feel quite exposed. I went on TV, this is TV, but it's different. I went on national TV it wasn't national, it was regional. I'm getting a bit above my things. In England, I went on Granada reports. I was on reports and it was out. Everybody saw it in the region. Yep. And it was video at the time. He videoed it. I went on talking about duvet days as a representative for Reed. And they put me on the regional telly, and I'd never done it before. It's up against the guy who was the main bod from the Institute of Directors. So it was like not, it's a bit of a one, And when I watched it back, I felt like I was totally exposed.
Yeah.
I felt totally like everybody had seen the inside of me. It was really weird.
Yeah, I know.
And I think that I could imagine.
Right?
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, and that's the same thing I'm feeling too, but it's been a while since I've really put myself out there, so I thought this was quite a good way to do it.
Can we buy tickets? Are they on sale yet?
Hands of Hope is what you need to have a look at on Facebook. Right. They've got an event called Hands of Hope Fight Night.
Okay.
Yeah, general admission on sale right now. Yeah.
So if you want to go watch Mary Claire get hit in the face.
And actual professional boxers who will do a very good show. Fighters. Yeah.
But if you want to go and see her get punched in the face. For charity. Then you can buy the tickets.
I am running a Give a Little campaign too. So part of the money from the night goes to Key to Life, and then I'm doing a Give a Little campain where all that funds will go to the Key to Life too.
And the Key to Life is a very good. Is that the Mike King?
Yes, exactly. For suicide awareness and suicide. Yeah, it still freaks me out. The Wairarapa has the highest rates.
It's awful, isn't it?
Teen suicide here. I can't believe it, and it makes me really sad. So that's one of the reasons I wanted to do this too. Is get some funds into that program so they can do their good work.
And I met Mike King. I'm part of Newsnet.live, and we had Mike King over for some events. I actually heard him speak. He's a very inspirational speaker.
Yeah, and that amazing way of connecting with the youth and connecting with the adults too. He's
amazing.
Yep.
Very, very committed to the cause, and so approachable afterwards to talk. Because, as I say, I had my middle boy who has issues of being a bit different. So you sort of worry about those ones. And he was so good. He's such a nice guy. So it's well worth supporting the Key to Life. Get out there, buy your tickets. Also, go to the 3 Mile website.
Yep, absolutely.
3mile.nz. NZ.
Yeah,
very short.
It. I know.
Nice.
digit 3mile.nz.
3mile.nz. So go there, you can see what's going on at the co-working space. You can book in.
Yep.
You've got an offer on at the moment.
Yeah, we do. So we've actually, for winter, and also a little bit of a dig, Metlink, but they've put their prices up on the train. So we've dropped our 10-trip ticket prices.
Nice.
Yeah. So it's $50 off a 10-trip ticket at the moment, which makes it super bargain.
So.
And those ones you can just buy up front and then use it whenever. They don't expire. So anytime the urge takes you to come and co-work, you can just turn up and sit down and plug in and get on with it.
Oh, that's nice. Yes, that sounds good. I might have a look at that.
Yep.
And you can you can book in, you can get a trip thing for the events, can't you?
Absolutely. Yeah. So some people are just wanting to come just for the workshops. So there's a 10-trip ticket for those too, because we do ask for a kuha for those because it helps us with the space and keep the lights on and all of those things.
Well, you've got bills to pay.
Exactly.
And and there's expertise coming in.
And it's a little bit too around that expectation of value. Like we know it's worth it. Plus you get a glass of wine, so how is $10 not worth it?
Exactly. And all those people. Because I always find that if you go out and speak to people, or you will get some business from that.
Yeah, absolutely.
They put a name to a face, and that's that.
Yeah.
So if you're in the Rotary Club and you're watching this, I will be speaking tonight at Carterton Rotary. So you can go down there if you're a member, a Rotarian, and I'll say hello. Talking about the radio show and me. So there you go. So you can, that'll be quite interesting. So you can definitely get down to 3 Mile. Check out Event Tech Tribe if you like.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, we work across the whole wide world. So, if you're in events and you're thinking about tech, then that's a thing to take a look at. And makerspacenz.com.
And Makerspace. So there's lots of things that Mary Claire's involved in there. Mary Claire Andrews. I will just get that in and get it right before the end of the show. And there's lots and lots of fun things going on, and there's loads of ladies gave me some things to promote, and I've forgotten my phone, so I can't actually
Oh no.
see.
Do I have them? I'm sure I have them.
I do know that Platter had that they were if you got your deposit in before a date in August, they would style your platter, your grazing platter, with lovely things. Oh, look at this. See, I can borrow somebody else's phone. Oh, yep. So, and Shari's got her third Monday evening of the Beginners Builders Blocks Yogas classes on at 7 p.m. I keep saying I'm going to get along to them, but today I'm a bit sore. I don't think I'll be able to move. But I would love to get to yoga. I think that's my next phase. And you can call Shari on 021 027 07764 and go to the website hotyogaforyou.co.nz. Plus, she sponsors this show. She believes in it, which is really awesome. Thank you, Sherry. Mini Mutts now has a dog walking service for any size dog. So check out their Facebook page, Mini Mutts, and give them a call so they can help you with your fur baby. Now, Barbara is lovely. She's a lovely lady, and she really loves dogs. So she will definitely look after your fur baby.
There you go.
And if you want to go and have a quick nosy at the Facebook page, Wairarapa Women in Business, then you can join that. And Mary Claire's an active member of that. She's on there as well. So and she puts all the 3 Mile stuff on.
Yeah.
So it's been a fantastic show. Thank you for being my guest.
Thank you for chatting with me. It's been fun.
Yeah, it has been really fun. It's always fun. I'd love to do it again.
Yeah.
And you've been listening to 92.7 Arrow FM, the Nothing Personal Show. And we'll be back next week with another guest at 9:30 live on Arrow FM and throughout the day, Monday and Tuesday on Wairarapa TV. Thank you for tuning in and enjoy your day.